Hey everybody, welcome back to another Stone Face Reactions. I'm Theta, this is Lessons, here for episode 5 of SDF Gundam Macross. Sorry, I watched too many shows. So, we just had a whole, well, I was gonna say Min-May episode, but it was really the two of them, with a intersparsing, or intercutting of, a command crew wholly unconcerned about their new plight.
I say that. Are you
They're,
expecting them to be panicking? They seem to be working. In fact, they even show that they try to get some coffee and then they have to go back into it again.
you said, they apparently seem to be working. They did like one breakdown of what condition the ship was in, took a coffee break, and then went down to the mess hall to take another coffee break.
But I think that was supposed to be like a week later, something like that. If we correlate to how much time they were counting down, yeah, I think it was.
Okay, so they thought it was important to tell us that the command crew of the ship was busy on task. So they took a coffee break, and then a week later showed us they took another coffee break.
I think it's more like passage of time, basically.
Right, but they didn't. They decided on the Min-May Hikaru side to show the scratching marks, and this is the passage of time. This is what they're doing, where they're desperately trying not to starve to death and considering killing themselves due to the fact of not wanting to be eaten by rats, I guess, or to starve to death.
Or, yeah.
Versus the command crew, where the important aspects of their day to day that they wanted to express to us was coffee related.
I mean, they were also talking about evacuating the
They said that
the
the 50,000
civilians.
refugees had settled. That was all that
Yeah,
was covered in the mess hall
yeah,
situation
yeah.
that I recall. Like I said, the
Mhm.
first time they showed us, before they became so drastically centered on coffee, was I was reading the top, and the top was the people in the background talking, or I guess a radio, where like every section of the ship is leaking oxygen, which I would have been freaking out about. Like, okay, get, engineering crews all over the place. This ship is a fucking kilometer long. We cannot be leaking that much oxygen. In fact, I don't know how we're going to get more oxygen. Did somebody bring a lot of plants on board? I hope they did.
Oh, yeah. Mostly some of that alien tech that can recycle the
Oh,
oxygen
that
or
alien tech that's
create.
failed every time, except for the one time when the ship
I mean,
fired
they
its
do have
guns.
a lot of ice around.
Sure. Sure, but I don't know if we sent anybody out to get anything. The only person we know went out to get anything was Hikaru to get a fish.
Now, what I think it's an issue is that they never mention the fact that he breaks some of these pipes. So there's massive water leakage and nobody gets reported.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying is that I don't know how
Or an
many
airlock
engineering
opens.
crews are on this ship, but it's a kilometer long. I'm more concerned about the air leakage, right? What you're saying is true. Well, we know that he broke one pipe, but
Yeah.
still, that's a pipe that's going to be leaking forever. Think about how moldy the SDF Macross is going to be by the end of the show. There's just one unending pipe, or there's one unending leak that never gets fixed. It's just still water surrounded by rats. So who the fuck knows what's happening there? God, I hope there's not one mosquito larvae around on this ship. Well, this place is
Yeah.
a death trap. Yeah, no, there's just so many concerns. I'm so unconcerned about the aliens now. Despite the fact that they sent two ships to attack us, and now in the next time on for this episode, we already know they're sending another scout for some reason. Yet we know you found us. There were two ships that attacked us. You saying that they didn't send a message back? It's entirely off screen, so who the hell knows? This might be another
Yeah.
case of the writing, right? We just
Yeah.
gonna forget about those two ships because we needed a way to break the hole in the floor so Mid-May and Hikaru could be found.
Yeah. I found that I didn't say that in the last episode, but I kind of found a little frustrating. Oh, they're about to kiss, and then woo, they got found out, and of course she goes one way and he goes the other, and it's like,
That's all.
yeah,
That's just a trope. I mean,
yeah. It's will they, won't they?
You
And
know, it just occurred to
I'm not
me.
a fan of that trope at
It
all.
just occurred to me though. That missile penetrated the hull, right? To break a hole in there so they could get found.
Yeah.
Why aren't all? It penetrated the hull. It's in the middle of the ship, which means there's a number of holes now through the Macross that all those
Well,
people that are like,
they do show that in certain areas and before that, that as if holes are made, that secondary bulkheads come in and seal the holes.
I suppose
I
that's
don't know,
fair.
but I don't know if it works everywhere though. Right?
Well,
It
my
had to
point
work there.
was is that where the city is, like the mayor and
Uh-huh.
everybody that's looking down, that's where
Yeah.
that
Uh-huh.
missile was. That means that it was a giant hole punch through the ship, right where all these people are, who are apparently happy and unconcerned, whereas moments before should have then witnessed a hole to space above them.
True enough.
I just, I feel like you made the comparison to G.I. Joe and everything, that there's a G.I. Joe level of writing happening here where we're wholly unconcerned about things that happened moments ago because it drove our plot forward to where we wanted it to be.
Yeah, that is certainly a thing. Um, and I don't recall whether the show actually gets better in that position or not. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned. I think I've mentioned before to you when I was discussing all this that I have a habit of becoming rather flippant about things. It's not because I don't like it. The show is fine. I'm having fun here. But I just have a lot of fun making fun of the things that seem
Oh,
obvious
sure, for
from a
sure.
modern day perspective, right? It's like if we're gonna write, okay, well, how are we gonna get them to where all the people are? Well, we can have Minmay say something about making an explosive. Yeah, but we need to make time so that they can have like a romance. So even later on in the story, we can flash back to this as like the starting point. Oh, that was something, by the way. I think. Do you think in Zero that this was a callback to this moment that Shin like really falls in love with Sarah in episode 4 of Zero, and here in episode 4 of SDF Macross, it seems like they're about to get married and everything. Like this
I
is the
mean, yeah,
length of the romance that we wanted to.
yeah. I mean, you do get the fact that the in Zero the hero gets cut off, and there's more people on the island. Of course, he's not going to die from starvation like that. But the fact that he gets isolated with the girl, right? Um, and both of the girls sing, of course. We
Well,
heard
I'm
Ming Mei
referring more
singing a
to the
little bit.
fact that in episode 4 he's like, "Oh, this is what you're talking about," and then he starts singing to nature, and she starts realizing there's more to him than what she first thought. And the fact that
Yeah.
he's singing is like, "Oh no, I understand your viewpoint now. I've seen you naked twice as well," you know.
Yes,
But yeah,
and the floating rocks. Yeah,
yeah. So it's like their relationship. I really feel starts on episode 4. Everything before that is the build up to the realization that this is now a pair. And here we are in
yeah,
episode 4 of this show, and they're like sleeping on each other's shoulders, and she's like, "I want to become a bride." It feels like they thought when they were making Zero as a prequel to make as many call forwards as possible. And this is just one of those, well, it was 4 episodes in that they became a couple. Let's do an episode 4 thing here.
well, I mean, what Zero has 5 episodes, so I guess if they were gonna have a romance, they were gonna have to before the final episode, unless they have that final, rush to kissing at the last moment. So yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they really didn't have much time to spare.
yeah.
All
I
right.
think it's more a coincidence than anything else.
Yeah. I think my biggest problem now in the writing is that missile. The fact that they used the missile from a fight that we didn't get to see to uh, to get Minmay and Hikaru back to everybody else, but nobody seems bothered by it. I guess
Yeah.
I guess to be fair, they went through a whole thing where they evacuated and everything. Maybe they're shell shocked. Maybe they're just unconcerned because they've been through too much.
Yeah. I think also explains sort of Minmei's mood swings, right? I mean, it's a roller coaster ride, and they're both trying to comprehend stuff that is way bigger than the two of them, right? And they're facing death,
That's
so
probably the best way you could put that.
yeah.
We're dealing with things that are beyond our comprehension. All right, well, I don't have any more thoughts. What about you?
No, I don't actually of this episode. I don't remember a lot, except for one crucial thing, but which I won't mention because it will be a spoiler. But really, it's I think these are now that we finished with the first arc of how do we got here. Now we are in the starting to set up what the show will be about in this season, right? These are the episodes that are doing the setup, right? They're doing the setup of individual characters and locations and personalities. We saw glimpses of that before, but now we really are. That's why we have an entire episode with Hikaru and Minmay, because we get to see their personalities. How much of that is gonna last or change? Well, we're about to find out.
Yeah, like I said before, this is the reminding me of Star Trek Voyager, which not unironically, the fact that Macross has a whole city or town inside of it. And
Mm-hmm.
at some point during Voyager, we decided to use the holodeck to simulate a town so people could like get
Yeah.
a little bit of relief in.
Mm.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and head into it. Before we get started, though, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below to feed the algorithm. On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered, uncensored, and uncut, as well as some early access stuff, you can check it out over on the Patreon. It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure. It's all to support the channel, just a little bit extra. I suppose it's always going to be the opening first, huh? Well, we watch plenty of shows where they do like sometimes if it's a really important thing, you start with a little bit of action.
Yeah, cold open or something. But no,
Yeah.
I don't think this show does that. That I recall, top of my head.
I know I also mentioned the macro sky thing from before, but I did try read the text of the opening, and it's like
Yeah.
not really important.
Hmm.
It tells you like, oh yeah, the Macross fell from the sky like a lightning bolt and drove humanity forwards, and it's like, yeah, I got that from like the first episode.
Oh, remember, this is episodic TV. Somebody might come in a fifth or sixth episode and might not know what's going on. So, you know,
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think you can defend that on an episodic show. Maybe like I don't know. This is the '80s, you said, so it's kind of like when they
Mhm.
started doing this, especially for cartoons. I don't know about anime. I don't know. I don't think that's as defendable in episodic content as it is in, say, like semi-episodic content where you have Monster of the Week, but you still have an overarching storyline. If it's episodic from the start, then you should be expected to have to catch up.
超空間移動を試みた宇宙戦艦マクロスは周囲の町を島をそして辺りの海まで
How
も
long
飲み
does
込
it
ん
take to
で宇
get
宙
from
空
Pluto
間
to
を
Earth?
はるか遠く飛ばされ冥王星軌道付近へとたどり着い
I
た
guess those guys are just dead because we didn't come back to it at
マ
all.
クロス艦内に町ぐるみ収容された人々は絶望の日々を過ごしていただが不安を抱きながらも人々は徐々に立ち直りの兆しを見せ始め町は落ち着きを取り戻し
They never did actually cover how many crew the Macross has. I don't think you have to tell me what you didn't want to spoil, by the way. I think
Yeah.
it's in the name.
Yeah.
Well, this will help me figure out what to tell the artist. The artist doesn't like doing machines. So it's like, obviously, it's not going to be the jets or anything. Well, how about the Macross itself? It's gotta be bulky and square, right? That'd be easy to draw.
無理もないわね。2週間近くもあなたの面倒を見ていたんじゃ。
Wow. He had to take care of you for more a week.
こんなに散らかしっぱなしでお店は開かないの？
お店を開くってな。
そうよ。
Reopen
これ
the
だけみんな
restaurant.
揃ってるんだもん。
This isn't your restaurant. This is a different
肝
restaurant.
心の食料の配給な。これだけな。
たったこれっぽっち？でも統合戦争の時だってお店やってたんでしょ？
それはな、戦争中軍の方から臨時の配給が
I
あって
feel
な。
like we're in like a
それにここ
mental
は宇宙
state
船
right
の
now.
中ですよ。
そんなことないわよ。
Maybe
お
everybody
店
is
を
shell
開くと言えば
shocked.
もっと配給してもらえるわ。ねえおじさんおばさん。
どうするな。このままブラブラしてて
That
も
we're
仕方
gonna
ない
pretend
な。
that this town is the same town
お店で
that
もや
just
って
got
た方が
destroyed.
気晴らしになるかもしれないわね。
in the Japanese mindset, it is. It's the spirit of the city that's important. I mean,
Well, I
they
don't know.
literally rebuilt it with everything else.
What you're saying right now makes me think of like those towns in China where like they build a dam and they move the entire city and they just give it the same name.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This doesn't. Everyone seems so wholly unconcerned that I feel like there's a problem.
店始めるやって本気かいなこんな宇宙の果ての戦艦の中で
嫌だわ町会長さん地球をどんなに遠く離れたって宇
Also,
宙
she
船の中で
reminding me of
この街は
was
私たちの
shampoo.
街じゃない今までと同じことを
Ranma
言う
one
の
half.
Yeah.
そやなそらその通りや
Well, there, she answered the question. It's still our town.
この店まさかやってんのかい？
いらっしゃいませ中華料理店にゃんにゃ
It's
ん
only been
本日
2
開店
weeks.
です
How are you guys still not busy?
嬉しいわ兵隊さんたちが宇宙の中華料理店最初のお客様よ
そら光栄だな。しかし君が噂の民名ちゃんとはね、すごい冒険したんだってな。
そうよ大変だったんだから
男の子と2週間近くも2人っきりだったんだってね。2人で何してたんだい？
何って
それとぼけちゃって
決まってるじゃないか
もう知らない
本当に何もなかったのかい
ありません
そういやその男の子上に寝泊まりしてるっていうじゃないか。
そうだけど
相思相愛付き合ったんじゃない
I'm
の？
getting the drift of this show is going to be significantly different from Zero.
ただのお友達よ
Yeah.
それよりご注文は
ああそうかそうか。俺はラーメンだ。
ラーメンがいいだ。
じゃあ俺もラーメン
ラーメン3丁ですね
単なるお友達か
どうせ死ぬならこのまま一思いに外に飛び出して一緒に死のう
The dumbest thing right now would be if he considered that marriage legal.
友達か
I feel like the bridge got a lot bigger all of a sudden.
Well, this is another section of the ship.
Have your eyes. You're an alien.
これをご覧くださいこれがメイン反応こちらが手法のエネルギーコンバーターですこの間をエネルギーパイプがフォールドシステムとつながっていたわけですが
ホールドシステムの消滅で離れてしまったというわけだな。これだけのエネルギーパイプの予備
So are we just not going to talk about
どう
this?
するのかね。
はいマクロスの船体がブロック構造で作られていることを利用します
When were
つまり
contact lenses
このブロ
invented?
ックとこのブロックをこう入れ替えます
Well, contacts were invented in the 1960s. I don't know if he's wearing
問題は
contacts.
マクロスをこのようにトランスフォーメーションせねば手法が打てないということです
トランスフォーメーション。
Look, I know we were talking about the power system and where the full thing was connected to the guns and everything, but this dude's an alien.
他に手法を
It's just an animation error, basically.
No, an animation error would be in one scene. They keep coming back to a close-up of his face.
それはできん。
They're doing it on purpose, which makes me think he's an alien.
再び混乱の渦に巻き込むような。そんなまではできん。
おい、こっちはチャーシュー麺2つにチャーハンだ。
ヒカルどこ行くのヒカル
He's heartbroken.
惨めだな
He got friend zone, I guess.
I thought it was more surprising that he was living in the same place as her.
I mean, he has nowhere else to live, right?
今度ゴキブリ野郎が
I don't know, it's a town filled with 50,000 people. You'd think there's one spare building. You think Roy here could have set him up?
しないでくださいよ
そうかもな。よかった。
え
なんだこのスクラップは。
スクラップ先輩これはね俺が命の次に大事にしてたレーサーなんですよそれをスクラップだなんて
I was gonna say, it's pretty crazy that Roy found him down here. Considering we know how big this place is.
I think it would have been a big news that they crashed to their place, and that everybody knows that they were together for a couple of weeks. So yeah.
Right. Well, I mean, we have no idea how long it's been since then. Because you think Roy would try and find him where he's been living. That Roy would just go down into the middle of the bowels of the ship for no reason.
Now this part is kind of silly because they're in space. They don't need to do this, but I guess you know.
I mean, in fairness, they seem to be. They're not breaking like laws of physics or anything to do this. I guess the concern would be, why would you design the ship to work this way?
Yeah.
He did such a shit job the first time.
I mean, he survived.
True.
But somebody never been through any like that before. Yeah.
As we covered last episode, 7 trained pilots didn't do what he did.
女の子って1日で変われるもんなんですか？
なんだ？
昨日と今日でガラッと変われるもんなんですか？笑わなくたっていいでしょ？
お前惚れたな？
え？そんなんじゃ
心配するなよ、ヒカル。お前がしょんぼりしてるから見てきてほしいって民名が言っていたぞ。元気を出して。
Oh, I guess that explains that then. He did go there, talk to Minmay, and then wander down into the bowels of the ship.
もっともあの手の女の子は気まぐれだからな。他の男に取られんように気をつけろよ。
Oh. Thanks for that, senpai.
Well, I think he's warning Hikaru about himself, because we know he's been staring at that ass this whole time. At least the first 3 episodes. 2 episodes.
異星人の母性の記録が。はい、取れました。ご覧ください。偵察用リガードから撮影したものです。
何？
この異星人はマイクローンなのか。は、私もこれを見たとき。
So we're myclones, huh? Is that a word for tiny?
我がゼントラーディー軍の古い記録にこのような言い伝えが残されております。なんだ？はい。マイクローンの住む星には手を出すなと。マイクローンの住む星。
Oh, it's miniature clones, isn't it? Trying to figure out what they're talking about. Us, I mean.
今後は例の戦艦だけを追うことに徹した方が得策かと。分かった。すぐにフォールドして奴らを追う。はい。デフォールドと同時に戦艦を1隻調査に向かわせろ。敵の出方を見たい。
So we're gonna have to turn into the 8th Star Wars movie.
Ara, Hikaru, 帰ってたの？何かご用？
いや、大したことじゃ。
いいわ、中に入って。どうぞ。
Okay, it's some sort of emotion. I got it. Out of context, that does sound funny. Some kind of emotion. Okay, I've got it. No, her eyes did the same black thing for a minute when she saw him as the doctor or professor or whatever it was downstairs.
気にしないでいいわ。
これは？
この間、私が取りに戻ろうとした忘れ物よ。
Hey, we did cover
あ
it.
なたに助けてもらったわけ。
From my Data's thoughts before.
これ もしかしたら恋人からの手紙かな？
まさか。中を見ていいわよ。
うん。歌手のオーディション予選合格通知。これ。へえ、通りで歌うまいわけだ。
ありがとう。でももう役に立たないわ。
Why not? You seem to have recreated the whole town so far.
Yeah, but I don't think that letter comes from this town. It could come from somewhere else.
戻れればね。ねえ、ヒカル。あなたは
Seems like they're tearing apart part of the deck to make multi-story buildings.
Probably.
Well, you saw part of the deck there was crisscrossed.
Yeah.
And they were putting another building on top of one, so it looks like they're kind of ripping it apart to make room. Sorry, was that a fold that just happened behind us?
Probably.
Yep, see?
レーダー探知室より入電。
I was like, well, what else would that giant flash of light have been?
急速接近中。敵艦隊です。
来たか。早瀬君、直ちに応戦態勢だ。
了解。敵機襲来。敵機襲来。バルキリー隊前期スクランブル。繰り返す。バルキリー隊前期スクランブル。
At the very least, the show is winning me back by literally calling back to things that I said she didn't explain why she ran back into. And I was like, oh, that little minor thing they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, on second rewatch, I'm going to pause and see how many were there. It better have only been 12, damn it.
I think the Valkyries are like the shuttles in Voyager. There's always another shuttle.
先輩たちが何とかしてくれるよ。
いつも先輩ね。あなただってあんなに操縦うまいのにね。
Senpai fought in the Unification War, killed over 100 men, almost 200. In fact, had to come back and save you.
地上と違ってなんてすばしこいんだ。ちょっと手強いぜ。
先行艦有効射程圏内突入。おかしいですな。手法を撃ってこないと。
マイクロームで一体どういうつもりだ。
もう少し痛めつけて反応を見てはいかがか。
それもよかろう。先行艦に発砲許可を敵艦を撃破せぬ程度。
So the little red-headed dude, he's bigger than the human, right?
Yeah.
Well, because he seems like half the size of the commander guy.
今のは
敵艦が砲撃を。
サブコントロールシステムの一部が損傷。しかし、なんとか切り抜けられそうです。頼むぞ。
It's odd, though, on their whole let's provoke them a little bit thing, that they've gone so hard from don't touch the Macross to shoot it as much as you like.
I mean, they probably have enough firepower to destroy it if they wanted to.
Yeah, no. I mean, they were avoiding shooting it before. And then the one guy says, let's provoke them a little bit and see. And now they're just wholeheartedly shooting the hell out of it.
よし、全機関に次ぐ手法発射準備。本艦はこれより。
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought you had to transform first, or else the circuits wouldn't line up.
早くしろ、時間がない。
Goes down the three-ring circus.
Oh, they got their system on.
can't imagine how much of Spaceballs was not itself a reference to Star Wars, but actually Macross.
フォーメーション
何かしら
さあね
They already have constructed a park and everything.
今頃戦ってるんでしょうね。
それ軍隊に入れってこと？
別にそういうわけじゃない
I
け
can't get over now that
ど、飛行機があなたの夢な
their
んでしょ。
daylight is literally just these light bulbs in the ceiling.
だけど
Yeah, I mean,
軍隊に入っ
makes
たら
sense.
あんまり会えなくなるね。
バカね。
Just reminds me of Big O now, except we can see the light in the ceiling.
生きてればね。
でもそんなこと言ったらお店に来る兵隊さんたちだってみんな同じじゃない？
みんな同じか。どうせそんなこったろうさ。
Are you
Ouch.
enjoying the military out of jealousy?
異常ないか。
Apparently.
ブロックが遅れていますが、なんとかなるはずです。
よろしい。
始動5秒前。3、2、1、0。
全艦トランスフォーメーション。
JKL 第7反応力上昇をしてください。
第78セクション作動開始。J ブロックのパワー
全
が足りない
艦トランスフォーメーション作動開始しました。
People obviously complaining there's not enough power to do it. Let's go ahead anyway.
すっきりするかもね。
何よ、勝手なこと言わないで。
No, I think they complained they didn't have enough power to fire the gun. They need to have the transformation in order to fire the gun.
No. There was one guy who was saying there's not enough power in J section. Remember a couple of the sections they said were behind, but they should be able to keep up.
トランスフォーメーション指令より3分経過。変形率 11.5%。
Yeah, we didn't plan this out very well. If you've ever wondered what it'd be like to be riding in the cabin of Optimus Prime during a transformation sequence. Yeah, Spaceballs clearly ripped this off. This is exactly the same.
マクロス右翼部変形率 75%。マクロス左翼部変形率
Form
80%。
Mega Maze.
手法システム上昇。
He's gone from suck to blow. The least important part of that transformation right there.
Oh, you want to have all things covered. It's not a cool transformation if you don't.
Tell me how the bridge moved up close to that other thing that I didn't know what it did.
Yeah.
I appreciate also how he apparently got into oil tankers as arms.
No, those are the carriers. The two carriers.
Oh, okay.
Remember they were taking off earlier? That's one of the yeah.
Well, my whole point before was that we never went back to that last episode, so...
You can see it there. One's an amphibious carrier, the other one is the aircraft carrier.
Oh, when I made my comment before, I was like, why did they design the Macross like this to have a carrier on top? I wasn't thinking that they merged it with the carriers.
Oh, you pissed them off. There you go.
I don't know why it's so confusing. He knew they had a gun, he just thought they weren't using it. So, how many thousand refugees did we lose?
直ちに艦内の損害を調査しろ。
市民の皆様、ただいまは大変ご迷惑をおかけしました。皆様のご協力により、手法を撃つことができ、敵艦を撃沈することができました。なお、怪我をなさった方、家屋を損壊された方は、最寄りの出張所、交番までお知らせください。
Yeah, I think that's everybody.
あなたが街なんか壊れちゃいなんて言うから。
だって本当にこんなことになるなんて。
お店壊れちゃったかな。
俺やるよ、みんな。
I mean, seems like a good chance.
軍隊に入る。
光る。
このまま何もしないってわけにはいかないもんな。
Join the military. Kill the aliens. Get the girl. Fight for Super Earth.
Oh, I haven't played any Helldivers.
I'm thinking of buying it myself, but
It
I don't want
looks
to play with
interesting.
randos. Yeah.
but I just don't
I
have
don't. I,
the attention span for it anymore.
暫定的防御システムピンポイントバリアを備えるに至ったマクロスは初めて反撃態勢に移ったそしてグローバル艦長はその場を土星に定めた初陣の光は国家に
Seems like they're
入れ
making
られ
good
て
time.
土星のリング内を飛ぶ次回超時空要塞マクロスダイダロスアタック
So I mean, if they're already at Saturn, the distance between planets in the outer solar system is actually so much larger than it is in the inner solar system.
oh yeah, multiple AUs. Yeah.
Yeah. I know when I was making a not stars with that number. You brought that up before, and it's in my head still. A week later. God no, the other one that Sanguine Games makes.
Myriad Song.
Myriad Song. I was making a Myriad Song campaign a long time ago, and I made a 2-scale solar system as a map so people would know because it was all going to take place in one solar system.
By the way, plugging it. I have a copy here. I don't know if you can see it.
Nope,
It's kind of blurry. No. Yeah.
Literally all blurry.
All blurry.
There you go.
Yeah, there we go. It has to be in front of me. So Myriad Song from Sanguine Games. Not a paid advertising. I just got the hard copy and I just want to show people. I will be doing a review of this in my Lessons Learned channel over at Twitch. So
Give
check
them
it
the
out.
URL. Otherwise it's not helpful.
Twitch.com, TV.com, Twitch TV Lessons Learned 1. 1 is it's important, the number 1. And Lessons Learned channel over at YouTube. So we're doing that. We're doing some major changes in the channel. We're separating a couple of stuff like making a gaming channel and another thing. So make it more clear. But yeah, we're going to be reviewing that. Also has Stars Without Number and also being in comparison with Traveler 2nd edition from Mongoose Games. So yeah. And if you like prairie-based games and have a lot of fun with quirky mechanics, check out everything from Sanguine Games, including Iron Claw and Myriad. So
I help playtest that, so it's always fun. You'll find my name is in a lot of those books.
Yep.
But yeah, no, Macross. Yeah, I mean there was a number of things there. I think if I was an engineer, I would be quickly trying to figure out the scale of the ship transformations so that I could make buildings, or at least rebuild buildings in a position where they weren't going to get fucking destroyed every time the ship has to be transformed.
Again, it's that issue where they're going through the motions, right? In another show, they're like, "Oh, we just solved this, right? We're very clever." But here, they're just going like, "We have this problem. We're gonna solve transformation." Yeah, but the civilians build a city inside the ship. What are we gonna do? Oh, I'm not gonna do it. Yes, I gotta do it because otherwise we'll all die. Okay, And since they don't know, we know what the aliens are thinking, but they don't know what the aliens are thinking. Like the aliens just want to see what happens. So they're doing this attack. They're like, "Oh, they're gonna kill us all." So
I only know by virtue of the fact of having to make the schedule for the channel and everything that there is an episode. Literally, I think in our next week recording says First Contact. But I was going to point out we haven't even talked to them yet. So I'm saying it now. I already know there's an episode called First Contact where I assume we contact them for the first time.
Yeah.
Any other big thoughts about this episode?
The whole again, I'm not big on will they, won't they. So the whole Ming Mei Hikaru relationship is like, oh, join the military, and it's like, I don't know, maybe I should join you because I'm jealous of the other pilots that are coming to eat at a restaurant. It's like, and I get they're teenagers, right? So it kind of fits the theme of, hey, we just he doesn't understand his emotions, but his big friendly senpai is not very helpful. He's like, oh no, just girls are fickles. That's
well,
it,
I mean, I think the motivating factor there is, get better before she finds somebody else, which I think is pretty helpful to motivate him to do something, which it does because he goes right to her room.
Yeah, but eventually, I think what he does settle on is not so much I'm going to do this for her. It's like I'm not going to sit around and let things happen and people suffer where I can actually help.
Well, yeah, so his motivations are all, selfish. But I mean, I'm not going to judge him on that. I'm giving him so much leeway for being a kid anyway. The least I can do. But, oh shit, I had a thought, now I can't remember it. I mean, oh yeah, your will they won't they thing. I mean, it's an 80s anime. There's been
Yeah.
plenty of romances built up in 80s anime where they don't. You know, like the show goes to its final bit and they never do anything.
Yeah.
Inuyasha was 80s, wasn't it?
90s.
Was it 90s? Oh,
Yeah. At least I
Inuyasha is
remember
like the
the
first thing that
90s.
came
Yeah.
to my mind, and they don't even kiss until a movie. So,
Mm.
so it's not off the wall to think that you might get it, will they, won't they, and it just never consummates.
Yeah.
And considering it's the first show in its series,
Mhm.
we don't have the
Yeah.
standard set forth by whatever comes next.
Yeah. Makes sense as well.
Anything else come to mind?
We saw finally transformation, how they solved the problem with the main gun. So now we remember that not only we have little mecha, we have the ship that is also a giant mecha. So
It
or giant
feels like
mech.
they shoehorned that in for no reason, really. They created a situation by which they would not be able to fire the gun willy-nilly, and then they solved that situation to create a scenario where they could fire the gun willy-nilly. Because I guess they decided we need to transform. Why? Why do we transform? Well, maybe they said they can't fire the gun if they don't transform.
I mean, but it also has an aspect of we are again, they don't understand the technology. They're having problems with the technology, so they're coming with ways to keep fighting and surviving, right?
You're answering the question from an in-world perspective. I'm stating my
Yeah.
issues from the writing room perspective. Like,
Yeah, I'm doing the Watsonian thing, and you're doing the
our toy needs to transform. Look,
Oh, yeah.
I had this whole Gundam thing written out before in another reaction where, God, why did they do this weird thing where all the Zakus are jump kicking people? And my thought is, maybe one of the toy companies said we have a jump kicking Zaku we want to sell. You better start
Yeah.
having a couple of jump kicking Zakus. That feels like
And in Gundam, when you have Sunrise, they certainly sell, toys. So
yeah. So here it feels like, well, the Macross has to transform. We better create something where they have to transform. Otherwise, they're never going to see it on the show. Well, they've already got this giant super weapon. Why wouldn't they use that all the time? We'll take that shit away. Well, we're going to need it for a couple episodes that we wrote. Well, make it so they have to transform to use it.
yeah, but I think it's much better solution than in Super Robot stories where usually there's a sword or something like the ultimate weapon, and they always use it at the last moment, and they could just use it the first time
Power
the enemy
Rangers.
shows up. Yeah, sword or a beam or
I guess
whatever,
Voltron
right?
has the sword too, doesn't he?
Yeah, a bunch of them have or some kind of ultimate attack. They always
Yeah,
have like a mega beam or something.
unlike the real
Yeah.
robot genre, which has just Wing Zero, which
Yeah.
it's fired massive beam at everything and destroy it anyway.
But the thing is that they use it. They give you reasons why they're not jumping to use it, right? That which I think are well thought out. They don't understand the technology. It disappeared because we didn't calculate it correctly. So we got to find a way to deal with that, right? Versus like, oh, I'm not using my gun, my super weapon.
Are you saying that the Macross's folding thing is orbiting the moon right now, and only the Macross went to Pluto?
Could be.
I mean, I think the aliens would have brought that up.
Or went somewhere else.
Well, you said they didn't calculate it properly. It's like, are you telling me it went to the right place and Macross didn't? But I feel like the aliens would have brought up, there's this mysterious fold technology thing sitting out here by itself.
Yeah, I mean they were aiming for the dark side of the moon and ended up in Pluto anyway. So
Yeah, well, I don't know. I don't think that makes much sense, really. But I'm not at this point counting on the show to make a lot of sense. I'm happy when it pays off the things I question, like what did Mid-May run back in the city for? She didn't even bring it up. And then here we are, 2 episodes later. Yeah, that's the thing I ran into the city for. Like, you're earning points back. You're earning points back at the very least because you're paying attention to the little things. Unfortunately, my big flippancy now is the big things don't make a lot of sense. I think it's all my thoughts for this episode.
Yeah,
I'll have a
same
whole
here.
rundown of things next week or something. But that was it for you? Okay, well, this has been Stone Face Reactions. We just watched episode 5, SDF Macross. I'm Zeta. This is Lessons. We'll catch you next time.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stone-Faced Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video, what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?